97 years had passed since a nuclear apocalypse killed everyone on Earth and drenched the planet in radiation. The survivors lived inside a space station called the Ark, where they had to wait 100 years before the Earth could support life again. Officers entered Clark Griffin's room, the daughter of the Ark's chief doctor, Abby Griffin. They attempted to put a wristband on her, but she refused, claiming she wasn't 18 yet. Crimes committed inside the Ark, no matter how minor, are punishable by death unless you are under the age of 18. She attempted to escape, but her mother, Abby, stopped her. Clark asked Abby if she would be executed, but Abby assures her that she would only be sent to Earth. Clark was then shot from behind with a tranquilizer. When Clark woke up, she was inside the ship beside Wells, the Chancellor's son. The ship began to shake, and the Chancellor, Thelonious, appeared on the screen. He warned them their chances of surviving this task were slim, but he would clear their names if they did. Thelonious said the drop point would be at Mount Weather, where their food and supplies were. Suddenly, heavy turbulence rocked the ship as it neared Earth. Those who took off their straps got thrown around and 2 passengers died. The Ark lost communication with the 100 except for the telemetry from their wristbands. Wells apologized to Clark for having her father executed, but Clark told him that she still hated him despite his apology. The ship came to a stop. Bellamy tried opening the door, but Clark stopped him since the air outside might be toxic. Octavia, Bellamy's sister, appeared and the two reunited. Her mother had hidden Octavia since it wasn't allowed in the Ark to have more than one child. Octavia noticed Bellamy wore a guard's uniform. He said he used it to sneak into the ship. Bellamy opened the door and Octavia walked out. She took a deep breath and yelled, "We're back." Everyone ran outside to celebrate. Clark looked at the map where Finn approached. She told him they had landed on the wrong mountain. Kane was talking to Abby, asking for the status of the 100. Abby told him 2 people died, but she said the cause was probably the rough landing, not radiation. Wells approached Clark, saying communications were down. Clark emphasized that getting to Mount Weather was more critical. The others approached, and Wells told them they should all go to Mount Weather. Bellamy intervened and said Clark and Wells should fetch the supplies themselves. Everyone else agreed. Murphy pushed Wells, causing his legs to get sprained. Wells got up and prepared to fight, but Finn intervened and told Murphy to stop. Bellamy pulled Octavia aside and told her he couldn't allow the people inside the Ark to come to Earth since he did something they would kill him for. Finn volunteered himself, Jasper, and Monty to go to Mount Weather along with Clark. Octavia also volunteered. Clark noticed scratches on Finn's wristband, which indicated he had attempted to take it off. She told him the people inside the Ark would think they died if they took off their wristbands. Bellamy got an idea based on what Clark said. Abby received a phone call and rushed to the operating room, saying someone had shot Thelonious. Clark and the others were inside Earth's forest. She noticed they hadn't seen any animals, indicating that Earth was still unlivable. Later, Clark told everyone to be quiet and pointed at the deer in front of them. Finn stepped on a twig, causing the deer to look at them. To their surprise, the deer had 2 faces on its head. Abby ordered additional anesthesia since Thelonious was dying. The other doctors refused, saying they would go beyond the limit and break the law. Abby ignored them and injected the anesthesia. Meanwhile, Shumway told Kane the shooter was Bellamy Blake, a janitor, but they didn't know the motive yet. Shumway tried convincing Kane to give the order to reduce population while Thelonious was out, but Kane refused. Bellamy approached Murphy and his friends, suggesting their crimes wouldn't be erased even if they survived. He convinced them to remove their wristbands so the Ark would think they were dead and won't follow them to Earth. The two agreed and decided to follow Bellamy. Since they decided to remove their wristbands, Kane believed that radiation was still on Earth and thought they were dead. But Abby insisted that it wasn't the case since the rest of them should also be dead if radiation were still existent. Finn wondered why they were sent to Earth in the Ark's 97th year instead of the 100th. Clark told them the Ark was dying, so they sent 100 juveniles to Earth to extend its life support. Her father discovered the flaw and thought everyone should know, but the council thought otherwise. Clark's father was executed and she was imprisoned. Octavia jumped in a river. Suddenly, a mysterious creature appeared and dragged Octavia. They dropped a stone at the river to distract it. Jasper leaped towards Octavia and dragged her back to land. That night, Wells saw people removing their wristbands. Wells confronted Bellamy, saying they needed the wristbands so the people inside the Ark could come down. Bellamy told them they could care for themselves. He reminded Wells of how his father, Thelonious, executed his mother for having a second child. Bellamy emphasized that on Earth, no rules applied. Inside the Ark, Shumway barged through Abby and told her she was being arrested for exceeding the maximum dose of anesthesia during Thelonious' operation. Abby said she only gave Thelonious enough anesthesia to live. Kane told Abby she was sentenced to death and would be executed the next day. Bellamy woke Wells up, threatening him with a gun. He led Wells to a place where they would be alone and told him he needed the Ark to think he was dead. Suddenly, Murphy and 3 other men pinned Wells on a rock and forcibly removed his wristband. In the Ark, Abby was about to be executed. Shumway opened the door and Abby stepped inside. As Shumway was about to press the button, Thelonious appeared and pardoned Abby. The door opened and Abby exited the chamber. Finn was about to cross the river when Jasper volunteered that he go first. Jasper jumped and reached the other side. He celebrated when suddenly a spear was thrown toward him, piercing his chest. Everyone screamed. They scrambled and tried to get to where Jasper was when Monty slipped on a pile of weird-looking bones. They heard a scream, and when they looked at where Jasper was, he was gone. Jackson, Abby's assistant, informed her that 23 juveniles were now dark tiles. He thought radiation was the cause, but Abby disagreed. Thelonious arrived with Kane and saw Wells' tile was black. He thought his son had died, but Abby told him otherwise. Kane intervened, saying they didn't have time for false hope since the wristbands indicated that Earth wasn't survivable. Wells was talking to Bellamy about the chaos that was boiling up in the camp when they heard a woman scream. They went toward it and saw Murphy forcing a woman to remove her wristband by placing her face near a fire. Wells intervened by shoving Murphy. Murphy retaliated and punched Wells. They fought and Wells pummeled Murphy. He got up and told Bellamy to stop it. Murphy grabbed a blade. Bellamy saw this and handed Wells a blade for a fair fight. Murphy sliced Wells' arm, but Wells was able to have his knife on Murphy's neck. Clark and the others arrived, which stopped the fight. Clark told them about Jasper, and Finn added, saying other grounders were on Earth. Clark noticed Wells' wristband was gone. She was surprised to know that they had removed 24 wristbands. Clark told everyone the Ark was dying, and the people there needed to know if the Earth was habitable. Bellamy intervened, saying they could take care of themselves. Abby asked Thelonious where he stood regarding the culling. Thelonious told her that they would die in 4 months unless they reduced the population. Abby disagreed, but Thelonious told her the survival of humanity is most important. Kane appeared and Abby walked out. Thelonious asked Kane if he had something to do with the shooting, since Kane would benefit the most if he died. Kane denied this and told Thelonious he wasn't surprised someone shot him since he was too weak to do what needed to be done. Clark was readying herself to rescue Jasper. Wells would accompany her, and Monty was tasked to re-establish communication with the Ark. Clark approached Bellamy and asked him to come since he had a gun. Bellamy refused, but Clark told him his followers would think he was scared otherwise. It convinced Bellamy, so he told Murphy to accompany him and for Atom to watch Octavia. Raven entered the Ark and took off her suit. She was excited to visit her boyfriend inside the prison. Unfortunately, her colleague told her the prison was under quarantine because of a virus and didn't allow visitors. Atom saw Octavia and a man entering the ship. Atom pulled the man down the steps and sealed the ship's door, locking Octavia inside. To her luck, Monty was there with her. Raven confronted Abby. She asked why an air duct was open if a virus had spread. Abby told her the virus wasn't airborne. Raven didn't believe her and said the council was hiding something. Bellamy held his gun and told Clark to remove her wristband, but she refused. Finn arrived and took Clark, splitting their search into groups. Inside the ship, Monty removed Octavia's wristband to attempt to establish a connection with the Ark, but it failed. Atom opened the latch and Octavia went outside. Finn wondered why Jasper was the only one attacked. Clark hypothesized that the river must be a boundary. Finn found a stream and went for a dip. He pulled Clark inside the stream and she noticed traces of blood. They went toward it and found Jasper's goggles beneath the rocks. Abby and Jackson found Raven sneaking into the air ducts. Abby grabbed her and she went inside the room. Raven examined the wristbands and told them she thought the juveniles weren't dying and instead were taking them off. Octavia saw a butterfly and followed it to where thousands of butterflies meshed together on trees. Atom appeared and after staring at each other, they kissed. Elsewhere, Clark and the others followed the trail of blood and saw Jasper tied to a tree. Clark tried approaching but fell down a trap. Luckily, Bellamy caught her and the others helped pull her back to safety. The meeting commenced. Abby tried convincing the other council members that the most delinquent members of the 100 were the ones removing their wristbands. Kane rebutted, saying they didn't have time to waste as each day that passed would require them to kill 10 people to keep the life support running. The voting started, 3 voted yes, while 3 voted no, and it was up to Thelonious to break the tie. He decided to abstain, which meant the council would have to vote again after 10 days to reach a decision. It also meant Abby had 10 days to change the council's mind. Finn and Murphy were trying to free Jasper when a panther appeared and charged at them. Bellamy tried to get his gun, but Wells surprisingly had it. Wells fired toward the panther but missed, which caused it to jump toward Bellamy. But Wells finally hit it. The animal died and the gun ran out of ammo. Raven entered Abby's workstation. Abby informed her about the Ark situation. She showed her an old ship and asked Raven to fix it within 9 days since she needed to go to Earth and prove it was habitable. Before accepting, Raven told her she wanted to come down to Earth with her, which Abby accepted. Clark and the others returned carrying Jasper. Bellamy showed everyone the dead panther for them to eat. Jasper was placed inside the tent where Clark took care of him. Bellamy was offering the others food in exchange for removing their wristbands. Finn saw this and went toward the bonfire to take some meat. Murphy stopped him. Finn told him he thought there were no rules on Earth and left. Atom was making out with Octavia, but Bellamy saw them. Bellamy called Atom and tied him to a tree, telling him no one must disobey him. Clark was watching a game with Jake, Thelonious, and Wells. Abby arrived and Jake left to check on the system's analysis. Meanwhile, Clark went to fetch water for Jasper when she saw a young woman screaming. She saw it was Charlotte, who seemed to be having a bad dream. Charlotte woke up and told her she kept seeing her parents being executed in her dreams. Clark told her to move past it as they've been given a second chance by being sent on Earth. The next day, Bellamy and Atom went to the forest to search for food while Clark took care of Jasper. The screams coming from Jasper were annoying the others. Clark thought Jasper might have an infection, so she told Wells to hold him down as she planned to burn his wounds. Octavia approached Adam but was ignored. She got angry and confronted Bellamy, asking what had happened to Adam. Bellamy told her he punished Adam for disobeying him. They heard a scream and Octavia ran toward Jasper, where she saw him grimacing. Bellamy followed and said Jasper was a lost cause. Bellamy told Clark that if she couldn't heal Jasper until the next day, he'd kill Jasper himself. Jake got back from checking the Ark's status. He told Abby the Ark had a year or two of oxygen left, and he wouldn't be able to fix it. Jake wanted the people to know, but Abby disagreed and told him to follow the council's orders, or he would be executed. Jake refused, and unbeknownst to them, Clark heard everything. Wells looked at the herb the Grounders used to heal Jasper. He determined it was seaweed, and Finn knew where to get it. Meanwhile, Bellamy attempted to hunt a boar when Charlotte appeared and scared it away. Charlotte told Bellamy she wanted to come with them since she couldn't take any more of Jasper's screams. Bellamy obliged and gave her a weapon. Clark, Finn, and Wells reached the river. Clark grabbed the seaweed and saw birds flying toward them, followed by the sound of horns being blown. She saw an enormous sandstorm in the distance and they ran for their lives. Clark told Wells about what her father discovered and his plan to inform the public about it. Wells told her that her father would be executed if he did that. Clark made Wells promise not to tell anyone, to which he obliged. The three rushed toward the car Finn discovered earlier and went inside it. Bellamy brought Charlotte inside the cave, but Adam tripped and got caught in the storm. The people back at the camp all entered the ship and sought refuge there. The night came and Charlotte had another nightmare. Bellamy asked her what gave her nightmares. Charlotte didn't answer. Bellamy told her she'd keep having nightmares if she didn't slay her demons. Clark confronted Wells about him getting her father executed. Wells told her he made a mistake, but Clark wanted a better explanation. They argued, and Finn tried calming them down. Murphy grew tired of Jasper's screams back in the camp, so he got up to kill him. Monty saw this and rushed to close the hatch so Murphy couldn't get to Jasper. Octavia got a pipe and locked the hatch from the inside. Jake made a video when Clark appeared and told him she knew about the Ark and his plan. Clark told him that she would help, but Jake refused her offer. Officers suddenly rushed inside and told Jake he was under arrest for treason. The fog cleared and the three immediately went toward the camp. Finn told Clark he thinks Wells was hiding something since he never gave a straight answer whenever she asked about her father's execution. Finn asked if Wells was the only one who knew about her father's plan, to which Clark paused. Charlotte screamed as she saw Atom lying on the ground with his skin burnt. The sandstorm had burned his skin when he got caught in it. Bellamy arrived and ran toward his comrade. Adam looked at Bellamy and asked to be killed. Charlotte heard this, so she gave Bellamy her blade. He told Charlotte to go back to camp. Clark arrived. She saw Adam's body and signaled Bellamy that he was a goner. Clark caressed Adam's hair and started to hum. She slowly took the knife from Bellamy and pierced Adam's neck, killing him. They got back and Octavia approached them looking for Adam. Bellamy tried stopping her, but she removed the sheet and saw Adam's face. Octavia wept and walked out. Bellamy asked Murphy if Jasper was okay. Murphy told him he was about to kill him, but his psycho sister stopped him. Hearing Murphy call Octavia psycho made Bellamy furious. He lunged at him and Murphy apologized. Abby hugged Jake as he was about to be executed. Clark arrived and she hugged her father for the last time. Jake gave Clark a pendant. Thelonious told Jake it was time, so he entered the chamber. The hatch opened, which pulled Jake into space, killing him. Clark helped Jasper drink the medicine and went outside to comfort Wells. She asked if her mother was the one who told Thelonious about her father's plans. Wells grew silent and told Clark he was trying to protect her. Clark wept, asking him for forgiveness. Wells smiled and told her he already did. While Octavia, Monty, and Finn were drinking, Jasper suddenly spoke. They rushed to him and Finn gave him water. Smiles were seen around all their faces. Clark arrived and thanked him for not dying. Charlotte approached Wells, asking him if she could join him during his watch. Wells said yes, so she sat beside him. Charlotte suddenly stabbed him in the neck. Wells fell back, choking on his blood. She told him she kept seeing his father execute her parents in her dreams. As Wells drew his last breath, Charlotte had finally slain her demons.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.